Yo my people, what's going on? It's Killed here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a thumbnail in Black Ops 6. Now, there is a few issues with doing this. You are going to need Photoshop, and it is better if you have an Elgato, but you can just get a photo from the screen capture on your console or PC, whatever. That does make it easier, but Elgato is the easiest way because there's a screenshot function. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So the first thing you want to do, you want to load up a private match. Let's get that started. So if you go find match, all the way to the bottom, private match, and then create a private match. You have to wait a few seconds for this to load. In the meantime, you want to make sure you've got your class set up ready. I've already got the sniper already there with the gold camo. We're going to be leaving it on TDM. We're going to change the map. I'm going to pick Skyline just because it has a nice skybox on the map. We're going to go into the game rules. Now, basically, this is the issue. You want to turn down the match start time to 5 seconds. But for whatever reason, unless you spawn in a bot, which you can do, I'm not going to do that. There is a time limit on the game, basically. It ends really quickly, and it's due to a draw. So you need to spawn in the bot or have a friend come into the game with you and make sure they stay out of your way. Or you can just be really quick when you go into the game. You've got about 30 seconds or so you should be fine. I'm going to show you that now anyway. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so now the game's set up and you've spawned in. Like I said, we have to be quite quick because there is a time limit, but we have plenty of time to get this done. So you want to look up into the sky and inspect your weapon on the console. That's left on the D-pad twice. And then you want to inspect your weapon basically, and you want to get a screenshot of the weapon while it's in inspect mode. Once you've got that, you want to head over to Photoshop. Okay, so now we have Photoshop open. We need to make a new document. You want it 1920 by 1080 at 300 DPI, and then we want to import the photo. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get rid of all this extra stuff. Now, you could just rescale the image if you'd like, or we can actually get rid of it. So that's what I'm going to choose to do here. So we just want to lasso tool around all of this. Right click. Where is it? Oh, I need to rasterize the image first, of course. Now right click. Content aware fill. We need to select the area around it. Try not to get any of the clothes, but you want to make it obvious that it's a sky. Okay, it could be a lot smoother. There you go, that's much better. And you can see on the preview window here. And just like that, we have that sorted. So the next step you want to do is merge those files together. And then you want to duplicate the file, so Control C, Control V. And then we also want to hide the back layer. We want to scroll down and we want to remove the background. Now, this is, yeah, just as I suspected, it's not perfect, but it's a good starting point. Now, you can also get rid of the back layer if you'd like. So you want to double click here. We want to zoom in. We want to hold Alt. And you just want to tap away any of the extra areas. Now, obviously, this all depends on what gun you're using, what the background was when you took the screenshot. I did suggest using the sky, but obviously you can be in any part of the map. I just like to use the sky for my backgrounds. And then obviously later, if I want to change it, I can just change the background after we've cropped out the gun. So just take your time and get that done. And then we'll come back to it. Okay, so now we've finally got that done. I did notice there were some areas of the gun that is missing. And again, I've just noticed I'm here now. So I need to bring that back. Go. So the remove background isn't perfect, but honestly it is a very useful tool, and if you do have it on the sky or in an area where the background's nice and simple and it contrasts the weapon, the better it will do. So now we've got that done. Oh, I've just noticed another spot. Let me just finish that. Now obviously the more time you spend on this the better, but it doesn't actually have to be too perfect, and you'll see why later. We're going to use a lot of blending techniques and stuff like that. Just to make the thumbnail look better overall. So we can click OK with that now, and we can also bring back the background. Like I said, we do actually have a choice now. If we'd like to change the background, we could, because we have the weapon cropped out completely. So we can go onto Google, get a cinematic of a map, and I will show you that after, but I'm just going to mess around first with the foreground before we focus on that. So okay, so one of the things I like to add is vibrance and brightness and contrast. Now you can add that by just using this button here, and then you can go through the layers and add those in. Now I use this for all of my thumbnails. I do mess around with them a little bit, so I'll put the sky in there and we'll just just see what it looks like. So now I've got the vibrance really high on this. I'll turn that down a bit, but it does make the gold really pop, which I actually really like. The saturation there, and then we can mess around with the brightness too. You don't want to do too much, but as you can see, it does have a massive dramatic effect on the background. Okay, now I'll show you what it looks like with a different background. Okay, so I've quickly gone and found an image off Google. Obviously, you can spend more time yourself taking the screenshot in a better location if you like, or you can just do the cheap method, just like I have here, and you can add the background yourself. And as you can see instantly, it does look a lot better than just a simple background. But we can mess around with a few things here that's going to improve that even more. So I'll show you how to do it with both. So we'll be flicking through back and forth with the sky and the background. But the principle is basically the same. So don't really worry about the background just yet. We want to add in a few more things. So one of my favorite things to add on a thumbnail, especially with a sniper or something like that, or even zombies, is some sparks. So again, I've just gone onto Google and I've just typed in sparks overlay, and it's come up with this. I'm going to change it to screen, and I'll put it above the weapon, and I'll just lower the opacity just a little bit. And it just adds a little something to the map. Nothing too crazy. Another thing I like to add, especially with sniper, is sniper bullets. And I'll show you a way to make these look even better than they do already. So we'll have one there. Control C, Control V again. Rotate them around a little bit. Just make them seem a bit random, the placement. And here we go. Now we want to duplicate. To line these up again. So I just Control C, Control V again. Want to merge those files together, sorry. So merge those layers, we'll merge these together as well. Okay, and now on the bottom layer, you want to go to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, and then you want to change the direction to up and down, so it's almost like it's coming out of the gun. And there you go. Adds a little bit of a blur, and I like to just bring the opacity down just slightly, just to try and make that look a little bit more realistic. Another cool thing you can add is headshot. Now again, you just type in Call of Duty headshot PNG on Google and you'll find this. I'm just going to paste a few of these around as well, and then we're going to mess around. So Alt T to bring that up, and then if you hold Control and then click on one of the corners, you can actually alternate the image itself. Okay, that looks quite cool like that. And then this one, again, we don't really need to do too much. Now, I am overdoing things on this thumbnail, to be honest with you, just to show you guys some different examples. Again, merge the layers, Control C, Control V, line them up, and again we can add a blur to this as well, just to add some motion to the photo. And this time I like to go, just have a little play around, see what you think looks best. I think left to right looks best, but the distance on that is a bit too much, so I'm just going to add a little bit of a blur there. There you go. And I also like to do this a lot on my thumbnails, and you can do this again with the sky or the background, so I'll show you both now. So I've just duplicated the layer again here. We're going to Filter, Blur, Radial Blur, Zoom, Best. I leave it at 10, but you can put it up a little bit. As you can see, it's zoomed in the background massively there. You then want to get the eraser tool, make it slightly bigger. Then you just want to erase the center, so it puts more focus on the weapon itself and everything else that's going on, and it gives a nice little texture to the photo itself. And again, I'll show you now what that would look like with the sky background. So obviously we can obviously move things around as well. The layout there looked better in my opinion with the background itself, but if we also move this around just a little, then we do the same thing, copy, paste, Filter, Blur, Radial Blur, Zoom, Basics kept those settings for us. And again, because it's a sky, you can't tell as much really, but you can see in the clouds down in that corner, which really adds a nice effect to it. So I'm going to go back to the actual background. I want to delete these layers now. One thing we can do to make the gun stand out a little bit more as well, if we double click on the layer and then go to outer glow, and instantly it's a bit much. You just need to have a little play around with these settings. Again, it all depends on the background and everything like that you're using. I'm just going to add a slight outer glow to this because I think the gun stands out itself with it being gold and everything like that. And there you have it. There is the basics of making a thumbnail. There is a few extra touches I'm going to show you what to do now. And obviously it all depends on what gun you're using, what camo you're using. If it's for a certain type of thumbnail, for example, if you're unlocking an attachment, it's good to get a screenshot of the attachment and put that in the thumbnail as well. You can always tweak these. A lot of these thumbnails I've been running with the same. I've been doing tutorials now for the last 2 Call of Duties, and now this is the 3rd. I keep things quite similar, just because it does well on YouTube, to be honest with you. And why change it if it works well, to be honest? So what I'm going to show you now is something I like to do for the finishing touches. So if you highlight the whole page, and then, I don't like when that happens, you go edit, copy merged, and then Control V at the top. Then you want to hold Control Shift A, and it will bring up camera raw. And then here you can have a massive play. So if you increase the texture, the clarity, up the dehaze a little bit, add a bit of exposure, the contrast, you can play with that, increase it or decrease out however you like. Same with the highlights and the whites. This really makes it pop, and you can really make the darks look dark, or you can increase them as well so the whole thumbnail looks a lot brighter in general. And again, you can obviously just play around with that more and more and see how you like it. There is one tip I do want to give you when you're saving a thumbnail for YouTube. You want to make sure you export it as a PNG. So you go save for web, and then you want to make sure it's a PNG 8 and then save it and upload that. If you try and save it as a JPEG at max quality, it will not work. You'll have issues with the quality, especially with all those layers. And the more and more you add, obviously, the bigger the file gets. There is some compressors online, but I find if you save it as a PNG 8, 9 times out of 10, that will work for you. That being said, that is pretty much everything. Obviously, if you do have any questions or anything like that, do let me know. This can also be done in zombies. The same thing happens when you do the inspect. Everything disappears on screen. Even better on there. Other than Gobblegums, I did notice actually the menu does stay there, but you can do the same thing. Content aware fill, get rid of that from the image, and then work around that. There is other apps that you can use as well, other Photoshop-like apps. But this is what I use, and obviously the Elgato is what I use, so I thought I'd drop you a tutorial on how I do it. It's worked well for me in the past, and like I said, I've been quite consistent with the thumbnail style I use. And that's everything, to be honest with you. So I hope I helped you, and if I did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hold it down, my people. Peace.